Somewhere along the way, we have been told that growth comes from effort, competition, and pushing ourselves harder. But what if I told you humanity has always known another way, a softer, deeper path? One that isn't about climbing higher, but sinking deeper into who you already are. You're not an empty vessel. Ancient cultures knew this. In many indigenous traditions, from the Mayans to the Maasai, a human being is not seen as incomplete. You aren't broken and in need of fixing. You're born with potential, not just as energy, but as intelligence. The Cherokee had a concept called Selu, the corn mother, which taught that wisdom, strength, and self-reliance are already within us. Their rituals weren't about gaining something new, they were about remembering. Likewise, the Upanishads in India speak of Tat Tvam Asi. You are that. The divine isn't outside of you, but within. Conscious growth then isn't about adding more layers. It's about removing what hides your light. There's an old Hawaiian tradition called Upaponopono, which reminds us that healing and growth comes from acknowledgement, responsibility, forgiveness, and love. Not from proving your worth, but from realizing it's always been there. Even in ancient teachings, the concept of Ka, your vital essence, represented the divine spark each person carries. Growth to them wasn't acquiring something external. It was aligning with that inner light. Real growth is unlearning, not adding. We are taught to improve ourselves as if we are faulty machines. But ancient wisdom flips that. Real growth is about unlearning, like peeling an onion to get to the core. Buddha didn't teach more knowledge. He taught freedom from illusion. The more we strip away what we are, fears, roles, past labels, the closer we get to clarity. There's a story from Sufism. A disciple asked his master, "How do I reach God?" And the master replied, "Take one step away from yourself and you have arrived." This reminds me of a conversation I had with a monk. He said, we don't need to become peaceful. We need to stop doing the things that disturb our peace. It sounds simple, but it's deeply profound. Imagine carrying a backpack filled with stones, judgments, traumas, expectations. Conscious growth is learning to set it down one stone at a time. Stories of awakening aren't about perfection. You don't have to be perfect to grow. In fact, real transformation often begins with deep imperfection. Think about Rumi, the 13th century poet, who went from being a scholar to a wandering mystic after meeting Shams. His awakening didn't begin in a library, it began in a heartbreak. Or consider Jung, who said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. There's also the tale of Milarepa, the great Tibetan saint. He had a dark past. He practiced black magic in his youth. But through deep remorse and spiritual discipline, he transformed into a beacon of wisdom. His story tells us that your past doesn't define your ceiling. Your choices do. Every ancient culture has its version of the wounded healer. The one who grows because of their scars, not despite them. That's what makes you human. That's what makes you grow. True growth is in the service of others. In African Ubuntu philosophy, we say, "And because we are." Your growth isn't just yours, it ripples outward. In Japan, the samurai followed Bushido, not just to be strong, but to serve. Inner strength was meant to protect the community, not feed the ego. There's an old story from the Andean tribes of South Africa. They believe each person is born with a seed of gold inside them, but the gold must be polished through acts of compassion. Even in Vedic wisdom, the term seva, meaning selfless service, is considered a direct path to spiritual liberation. When you serve others, you see your reflection in them. You become part of something larger. So, if you're growing in silence or struggling in the dark, remember, even your unseen work might be softening someone's future. That's the deeper current of conscious growth. It's never isolated. Awareness, not achievement, is the real goal. From the Taoists to the Transcendentalists, the ultimate goal was never success. In the way we define it now, it was awareness. Awareness of your mind, your body, your breath. Awareness of how you treat the person in front of you. Awareness of how you speak to yourself. That's why the Dalai Lama laughs so often, or why sages like Ramana Maharshi could sit silently for hours, because their joy wasn't in doing, but in being fully awake. Henry David Thoreau didn't just go into the woods to escape society. He went to meet himself. In solitude, he found truth. And the truth wasn't about achieving more, but becoming still enough to see. Even the ancient Greek oracle at Delphi carved the words, "Know thyself" at the entrance, not "conquer the world." Maybe that's a secret modern life forgets. You don't need to become more, you need to remember who you've always been. So, wherever you are on your journey, just know this: you're not behind, you're not broken, and growth doesn't always look like a straight line. Sometimes it looks like falling apart so you can come together in a deeper way. Sometimes it looks like silence, stillness, confusion. But underneath it all, you are shifting. Your potential isn't out there, it's in here. In your breath, in your honesty, in your ability to begin again. Growth isn't becoming someone new. It's returning to the truth of who you are. And that is secret. If this spoke to something deep in you, I'd love to gift you something. I've created a free Glow Within journal to help you reflect, ground yourself, and grow spiritually in your own quiet way. You can download it for free. The link is in the description box. Remember, this is your space to grow, glow, and go within.